Hello, I'm Brian Malow, and we are live from Lindau, Germany, a beautiful medieval island on Lake Constance in southern Germany, which is the site of the 74th Lindau Nobel Laureate meeting. This year is a chemistry meeting. We have about 30 Nobel laureates here to provide a role of mentorship with more than 600 young scientists from more than 80 countries. And in fact, this year, for the first time, we have a young scientist from Honduras. Sara Velasquez is here. You're Honduran, but you're working in the
In the
Netherlands. Where
Netherlands,
do you
yes.
work? What institute?
Yes, I work in the University of Twente in the Netherlands.
Is it nice? Do you like it?
Yes, it's
Yeah,
very flat. Yes,
excellent.
yeah.
And you said not necessarily a chemist, you're more of a material scientist?
Yes, yes. So I'm working with polymer chemistry, more specifically biopolymers. So lignin, that's a natural polymer that that is found in trees. That's also where we found cellulose and hemicellulose.
Nice.
Yes.
And you're pretty far along in your career. I understand you're almost finished with your postdoc.
That's correct. Yes. I have done 2.5 years of postdoc, and I will soon be starting my independent career as a Chancellor's Fellow lecturer in the University of Strathclyde in Scotland.
Oh, so
Yes.
now you're going to Scotland.
Now I'm going to Scotland. Yes.
Excellent. Very exciting. I've never been to Scotland. Have a great time there.
Thank you.
So tell me a little more about this work you do and what you like about it.
Yes. I like working in science because there's a lot of flexibility on what we work on and on thinking as well. So currently I'm working using lignin for sustainable applications. So our idea is to replace polymers that are petroleum based into polymers that are natural, into approaching more of a circular approach where this won't contaminate and won't create that much pollution as the polymers that we're using. And mostly I'm working on sustainable applications, so for substituting pesticides that currently use other types of polymers that leave a lot of pollution into the fields, the soil that goes to the water, and eventually can also come to our food.
Every year, the meeting, in addition to being maybe a physics meeting or a medicine physiology meeting or a chemistry meeting like this year, there are themes for the year, and there are several. One is this year science communication and the use of AI tools in chemistry. And when what you're saying about sustainability, is that related to this other theme about circular chemistry? What does that mean? Getting away from linear chemistry to circular.
Yes. So when it's spoken about linear chemistry, we don't know. The end of life is very different from the start of life. And usually this means that the polymers are not recyclable and can be reused, but in a different way. When they are talking more about the circular approach, is that they can be either reused into others, or in the case of lignin or other type of biopolymers, that they can also if we talk about the agricultural applications, just as fertilizers, for example. So instead of leaving microplastics or leaving any type of pollution, it would enhance the plants. Yes.
Excellent. So you like what you do?
Yes, I enjoy it very much.
Did
Yes.
you always know that you wanted to be a scientist?
No, actually, no. Well, I come from Honduras and we don't know that much about scientists over there. I hope that since I moved almost 15 years ago, things have changed. And I'm always trying to work into making this change about what is a scientist. So I wanted to study materials. So decided to study materials engineering. And luckily enough, on the first semester when I did the bachelor's in Brazil, I was offered a position as a scientific assistant working in one of the research labs. And at that time, someone offered it to me because they didn't want it. The professor said that it was not fitted to my research topic. But 1 year later, I returned and they offered me the position. And from then on, I continued working on research labs. The undergrad I was working also had internships, but soon enough, I realized that I like more the lab work. Yes.
Excellent. So you just said something interesting. One thing that I'm not a scientist, and something that I've really gotten to understand, especially through this meeting, is how much scientists often have to move around. So you're from Honduras and you're currently in the Netherlands, you're going to Scotland, you've already worked in Brazil. And
Yes.
it's so, I like all this cross pollination and international aspect and international cooperation. Anything you have to say about that? Like,
Yes.
in such a divisive world that science really depends on and thrives on this kind of cooperation.
Yes, it's actually a very rewarding experience. Of course, after some time, you get tired of all the moving around, packing your life. Well, it started into suitcase. Now it's probably going to be a truck. But also, I have learned a lot, and you meet so many people with different ideas and different styles of working. And I think that both interculturally and interdisciplinary science becomes better. So if we mix these two, we can make great science. Yes.
Excellent. And so you have a social media presence, at least on Instagram, and a website with an intriguing name, Scientist with a Dog.
Yes, that's
And in
correct.
fact, is this the dog we're talking about?
This is the dog we're
Can we
talking
meet
about.
your dog?
Sure. So, yes, this is Hedwig, and she's an academic support puppy. She has been with me the past 4 years, and actually, she has helped me so much to survive the postdoctoral stage. She writes great grants. Actually, the first independent grant I wrote was inspired on a walk by her, and we are hoping that this can evolve into a great research line as well.
Excellent. And what's her name?
Her name is Hedwig, inspired by the owl from Harry Potter.
Excellent. You told me a funny little anecdote that happened once while you were traveling.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so we went to the ACS.
Just want to uncover
yes.
the microphone. And if you want, you can put it down if you like.
Yes. So we went to the ACS meeting last spring. We were going.
Where was it?
It was in New Orleans, and I was super excited. I was going to receive an award. I had the award letter. So I was fully prepared to explain this in the immigration office. I'm coming because I'm going to receive this award at the ACS. But actually, got only asked one question, and it was, why is the dog's name Hedwig? It's not a Hispanic name. So yeah, now she even gained a nickname that it can include as many as Hispanic names as possible. So it's Maria de los Ángeles Dolores Eduviges. Yes.
Yeah, we need to see her papers, and why isn't she Hispanic?
That's correct, yes.
Excellent. So here we are at this incredible meeting. I wonder what your impressions are so far. We started Sunday. We had 2 full days of programming, Monday and Tuesday, and we're partway through our Wednesday. What do you think of the meeting?
It's an amazing meeting. I am so glad I applied. Given that it's up to postdocs, this was the last opportunity where I could apply. I wish I would have done it sooner. I have met amazing people from the laureates, but also the organizers, those who work. But today I had a lunch that was supposed to be with one of the laureates, but unfortunately she couldn't come. So it was with someone who has worked on selecting the Nobel Prize winners in chemistry. And it was amazing to learn about the process, amazing to learn how they organize the meeting, how they do the selection. And there's a lot of amazing young scientists as well. I have talked with people from all over the world. And we have shared experiences from different areas. Today there was also a very amazing discussion where people were also allowed to share their more personal experience about how has it been working in science and all the problems that come within, either based on nationality or based on other types of discriminations that still happen, but that we're hoping that they could change soon.
Yes, and the Nobel laureate that unfortunately didn't make it here this year, Ada Yonat, who's been, she's a staple at these. She's been to so many of these meetings. I've interviewed her twice.
Oh, amazing! Yes,
and she helped elucidate, I think, the structure and function of the ribosome. Am I remembering correctly?
That's correct.
Yes. But unfortunately, she couldn't get here this year. But you know what? Since I know I'm my next interview coming up, have we the screen faded a little? You had positive things to say about the young man I'm going to interview next, which was Simon Nuremberg. Yeah.
Yes.
So what did you say about him?
Well, we actually met Simon the first day. Well, I didn't. It was Hedwig, of course. Simon came to talk to us because he was amazed that Hedwig was here. And I found out that he's an undergrad and he made it to the meeting. He also presented on the open on this young scientist presentations, and I was completely amazed by how well he presented, because I actually didn't submit a presentation because I was scared to present to Nobel laureates. So he looks as such a good scientist, and I'm hoping that he continues in science and does great things.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm pleased to learn he's an undergrad. The young scientists that attend the meeting, the only limit there is they have to be under the age of 35, and that's only because the meeting is really about mentorship. So if you're a really established scientist and older than 35, then maybe you don't need to come to this meeting. It's really for others. But under 35 means there are some undergraduate students, some graduate students, PhD students, postdocs, and then early stage scientists, which you're about to segue
Yes,
into.
that's correct.
And so Simon we'll be talking to in just a little while, and I didn't realize he was an undergrad, so that's
Yes.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And yeah, any other highlights, or is there anything coming up that you're looking forward to?
Both actually,
Yes.
yes, yeah. So actually, I wanted to go to the open exchange from David Macmillan on 2 days ago. I couldn't enter, so when I found out that the dinner was each table with one Nobel laureate, I decided to go and sit at his table, and I don't regret it at all. So he's Scottish, and I'm going to Scotland. So we had great
Oh,
conversations, and his wife is amazing. So I loved a lot sharing with them and having conversations. I was luckily also invited to the Bayer Foundation dinner yesterday, where they were there again. So it's amazing, like from not being allowed to enter to an open exchange because it was so full, I managed to have 2 dinners where they were around, and it's not just great scientists that the Nobel laureates are, but they are great people and super generous and willing to share with young scientists.
and not just, you think of scientific meetings, this is really different in that basically, usually each laureate gives a single half-hour lecture. And then there are some agora talks, which are sort of in conversation, maybe a couple laureates and a moderator. But there are so many other things, so many other kinds of sessions, and also it's so social, dinners and walks, and the conversation isn't limited to science. It's all these other
Yes.
aspects. The fact that you're moving to Scotland, I'm sure you talked about stuff that didn't have anything to do with science.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So that's fantastic. And some people that might watch, maybe there are some young scientists, and maybe some of them might want to apply to this meeting. Do you have anything to say to other young scientists?
Don't miss to apply. It's a wonderful opportunity. You should do it. Usually, after participating in this kind of events, I also write a bit about the application process and how it was for me. So check out the Scientist with a Dog website. That you'll definitely find some tips and tricks on how it was and why you should definitely apply, and to prepare a great motivation.
Excellent. So, Scientist with a Dog, Sara Velasquez. So, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. And in a little while, we're going to go live with our young undergrad, Simon Nurnberg. So, we'll be back.